So we are going live right now on Gatherings of Light, and we are here today. It's Monday, it's Metatrons Cube, and we are going to have a blast, I hope. Anyway, here is Cody, Bryce. Yay!
Yes.
So welcome everyone, this is Eva, and we were just talking about, normal stuff, how are you doing, etc. And I'm just going to ask a normal question. Are you sensitive to the cosmic weather for the moment? Because there is a huge impact of different energies hitting the earth, both scientifically, or if you want to call it esoteric, but scientifically, we have this northern light down in the southern of Sweden. We don't have that usually. It happens once or twice a year maybe, but this northern light is shown right now outside, if you can see it, if it isn't too cloudy. So there's a lot of impact going on here in the northern hemisphere. So I do know that a lot of people get migraines and they're feeling dizzy, heavy in body, etc. Are you picking up on those energies too?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I've had some of I think the stuff that I was going through with my migraines and sensitive skin and my body feeling heavy as well, and my lower back and all that stuff just going completely out. I can barely move, that type of stuff. It got compounded with that, and also the changes of like emotion type of thing as well, where there's like moments of extreme anxiety for no reason, and that type of thing where it is impacting, but I usually don't realize where it's coming from until I get some information like that, or I talk with my mom where she's very sensitive with that type of stuff as well. And so we kind of compound and, see if we both feel the same thing type of,
I was talking to Alexander for a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how we went through a couple of years of purging, and leaving the past behind and moving forward. And for every step that you think that you have left the baggage behind yourself, you're finding out that you are going deeper within your core, and just it's like the earth is just shaking it forward. I've been keeping an eye on some of the influences here in Sweden, the spiritual influences, and I kind of smile when I read how they are shook down to the ground, when they actually have to go deep inside of themselves to find the cause of their anger issue that suddenly popped up, or other stuff. And it's kind of nice to know that you are not alone in this, because it can start to mess with your head. And there are also we are going to talk about the Metatrons cube, but I just want to say this: there have also been a lot of posts here that we are closing in on this ascension history, and the people who have done the work are now being, moving forward another quantum leap. And that kind of sends mixed messages to everybody who just feels those energies pumping around in the body, and you think you have done your work, and you feel like there's a race going on, but it's not.
Yeah, it's definitely not a race. It's not, see who can finish first, it's everybody has their own journey, and some people don't need it even in this lifetime to get that far, so to speak, in their development. Some people only need a few lessons within this lifetime, and that's all they really wanted to learn or to experience when they incarnated. But other people, want that fast track, almost highway speed of sprinting down, seeing how far they can get, all that type of stuff. And so everybody really has their own path that they're going down. And
so please listen to that Everybody has their own path. No one is left behind. Everybody is going there. So don't stress out and think that you have done something wrong. Everything is perfectly in order. You are working through in your own time. Yeah. So with that said, once again, welcome to this Monday of Metatron Cube with Cody Bryce.
Yes.
You are welcome.
Yes.
Metatron Cube.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
is Metatron Cube?
Yeah, Metatron's cube is, I guess, a symbol or a sacred geometry form that is derivative from the flower of life, but technically the fruit of life, the 13 circles that would encompass the flower of life. And basically what you do with those 13 circles is you connect the center of each one of those circles to the center of every other circle. And it creates this form that is known as Metatron's cube. Even though Metatron, who knows that Archangel Metatron has been mentioned in multiple religions and all that type of stuff. And he's always either depicted with a cube or mentioned with a cube. But the actual Metatron's cube was actually discovered by a medieval mathematician called Leonardo Pisano. And kind of not funny enough, but ironic there. His other name is Fibonacci. So Leonardo Pisano basically discovered Fibonacci sequence, or the one that is closest to basically how life replicates the phi sequence, or phi golden mean ratio. But he also discovered the Metatron's cube, and he kind of named it that because he also studied religion, and he kind of knew the association that Metatron had with knowledge, the scribe. He was known as the scribe of God, and how he was also connected with sacred geometry as well. And so he kind of just connected the two and said it's Metatron's cube. But, yeah.
So that is the I always thought the Metatron's cube came from the Archangel Metatron or the Angel Metatron.
No, he was depicted with a cube, but he himself never, passed on knowledge or anything like that directly correlated with the symbol of Metatron's cube. It was basically his name that got put onto it by this medieval mathematician.
So they say they say Metatron's cube, but it's actually, when you look at it, it's obviously in two-dimensional pictures. It doesn't seem to be a cube. So
yes, you have to look at it from different angles, and it does. When you look at Metatron's cube, the actual symbol itself, it is drawn in 2 dimensions, but technically it's supposed to be a 3-dimensional object, 3-dimensional kind of thing. But you have to kind of use your imagination, if you will, to kind of connect the lines. So it would seem like a cube, but it's not like a straightforward cube. If you kind of turn it and go down, you'll be able to see the lines that create up the cube. And it's a cube within a cube. And then Metatron's, the symbol itself is really interesting, to where it can easily grow from itself, like expand, kind of double or shrink. So it kind of can grow to infinity or shrink to infinity. And having that kind of transcendental shape, where it kind of continue goes up or continue goes down. Basically, it allows for different, lines and different objects to kind of appear out of it with the help of all the others stuff. So yeah.
I just started to share here. It's from, it's best to show it, Soul Flower. I'm just using their image here, Metatron's cube. So maybe it's easier for people to see the image of it when you are talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of sacred geometry is hard to explain with words. You do need the visuals to be able to connect it and really understand. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, it's a beautiful image. So my next question is obviously, how do you use it? Because it's a sacred geometry, so
yes.
it has meanings.
Yes, yeah. Well, within the image of Metatron's cube lies all of the platonic solids, and so that's like where you kind of can actually see the flower of life actually having the the different, I guess, what's it called, informational levels, if you will, or different informational systems that is contained within the flower of life. One of the information systems is the platonic solids, and that comes or is shown easily with Metatron's cube. Each of them, from each of the platonic solids are in there, but some of them aren't as easy to pick out and see. The easiest one to see in there is the tetrahedron. You can see the triangles. It's pretty kind of simple, straightforward. You can see that one. But then there's the cube, which is the hexahedron. Oh yeah, that's a much better image to show it out. So this one, again, because it's a 2D kind of flat thing, it's hard to see the platonic solids when you first look at it, and it's nice to be able to have it kind of in your face a little bit, where you can kind of look around and like change the angles that you're looking at it, if you will, because then it kind of shows up a little bit more. When it's just straight out of your head at the face, it's hard to kind of delete some of the lines in there, because it's a kind of a mess. If you look at it, there's a lot happening within it, so it's kind of hard to see all the little details within it, because it's literally 78 lines with 13 circles, and so it's a lot happening there. But how you can really use the Metatron's cube is looking for the platonic solids. Once you have the platonic solids, you understand that that's kind of the basis for like material life, and it's kind of where lots of the geometry and like all geometry kind of comes from, if you will. And so geometry kind of is covered there. You can use it for more esoteric things, where you can use all those symbols for meditation, for protection, for any type of thing that you're kind of wanting to do. Each of the symbols will have a different effect on type of stuff. If you use the kind of main one, if you will, with the two kind of triangles that you can fully see, that would be in the Merkaba. And so you can use that as literally a light vehicle, which is constantly around you. You constantly do have the Merkaba spinning around you, but it's just having that image in front of you kind of intensifies your connection to your Merkaba, and therefore you can utilize it better, more efficiently, all that type of stuff.
So when I'm looking at this picture, it's almost like I'm drawn into the picture and then moving back. So it's quite alive, even though it's very, very flat on the screen here. So I can imagine if you start to meditate upon it, it will be pretty vivid image or senses that you are going through. You also mentioned the Merkaba. Merkaba is slightly different from this one, but using this, will that increase the, because the Merkaba is the Merkaba. Merkaba is the transporting vehicle, so to speak, or your movement through dimensions. So if you apply and visualize this Metatron upon the Merkaba,
it'd be like expanded. And so it might not look like a Merkaba, because in this picture the middle circle is clear, there's no lines into it, but
Yeah.
technically that would have lines in it as well, because you need to connect all of the centers of every single circle. So the center one kind of got deleted to maybe look cooler or something like that, but every single line is supposed to connect to that center one as well. And that would allow you to see that those two triangles are technically tetrahedrons. You have the three-dimensional aspect when you have the center line going into the center circle. And therefore, it kind of expands out, and you get to see the two tetrahedrons overlapping each other, which would be close to the Merkaba. But even though the shape is, again, a little bit different. But yeah, it kind of is the expanded version where you can see kind of how it connects in with the sacred geometry forms. But yeah, it
So
makes sense.
what more can you say about the Metatron cube?
Well, it's a perfect balance between masculine and feminine energy. And that's kind of a good one, because the circles are feminine energy, the straight lines masculine. And so when you combine them together, you have this ultimate balance of masculine and feminine, and not one is overpowering the other. You know, they're all perfectly balanced. You know?
I forgot that I was sharing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, well, I tried to find out some more interesting information, because there's a tons of loaded information when you Google on the Metatron cube, and it's also something that I was about to say decent spiritual teacher are using the Metatron cube, but I don't mean it like that. But there's a symbol that usually are within the spiritual community. So and of course they are using a lot of these geometric symbols, but Metatron's cube is the symbol for the spiritual journey. What do you think that is?
Yes, yeah, it's kind of just a really well-known image, you know, like even if you don't fully know the flower of life and all that type of stuff, you've probably seen the images, you know, you've seen it in, you know, you go into some spiritual shop or something like that, there's probably going to be some, you know, tapestries or some books or something like that, or some, you know, crystals with engravings of that type of stuff. It's kind of everywhere. And so for the uninitiated, if you will, the people that don't know it yet, it kind of just looks like a cool image, you know? And so sometimes people use that image just because it looks cool and they don't really know the significance of it, which is fine. You know, they can just know that it's cool. Other people will use it more for their spiritual teaching, spiritual journey, all the type of stuff, and dive deep into the information that is hidden within, if you will. Yeah.
The last time we were talking about the flower of life, and you had this cool book that you showed us. And do you have any literature?
Yeah. Yes. Not specifically about the Metatron's cube. It would just be, you know, the ancient secret of the flower of life. This one kind of contains it all, if you will. So all sacred geometry kind of is within that 2 volumes of that. There are, of course, many books out there that would have explanations of it or all that type of stuff. But I don't really get a lot of books just because I don't like to read that much. And so the books that I do get have to be very purposeful, and I have to like really, you know, want to sit down and actually read it, type of thing. And so that's why I've kind of stuck with the ancient secret of flower of life, just because it has so much information in it that I felt like I don't really need to sit down and read through another book. You know?
Wow. So can you show us the book once again, because yeah, The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 1, not
Yep.
yet. How many volumes are there to that one?
Just the 2.
2 volumes. Okay.
Yep, 1 and 2. And they're not really, you know, it's not like they're incredibly hard to find, but it's not like you're going to find them in any bookstore or anything like that. Even even like spiritual shops and all that type of stuff that might have books about spirituality or different stuff like that most likely won't have these books in them, just because they are kind of rare-ish, that's kind of limited print and all that type of stuff. You can definitely probably find them on Amazon and different stuff like that. You can order it there, but or from Junville Melchizedek's actual website and all that such. But yeah, it's not like you're gonna just stumble upon them usually.
No.
Yeah.
So from there, you've been talking a bit about it, and it contains all the shapes and the physical elements, the esoteric elements. It contains the balance between energy, the female energy and the masculine energy, but also balancing energies, other energies too as well. So it's almost like it is the sacred geometric symbol synonymous to a crystal.
Yes, yeah, very much, yeah. And even within the image itself, you can see kind of the angles and what type of stuff that is within it, almost like a crystal. A crystal has lots of angles, has lots of depth to it, and has lots of energy that is contained within it. So yeah, it is very much like a crystal. Yeah.
That is kind of interesting because I got this image in my head because when we're talking about the Metatrons cube and how many people are using them in their spiritual work, I have also seen that people are placing crystals upon the geometric symbol, the Metatrons cube. And for those who are working with crystals, we're usually using the crystals on grids. So you can use crystals on self-made grids, you can use it on pre-printed grids, or you can use a visual grid too and connect. So I guess the shape of this Metatron cube is attractive. The energy is attractive to the crystals, it's attractive to place something upon it because it's so perfectly set up within the circle and the lines that connect in the energy. So it's almost like a mental vision of how the energies are moving across and still connecting. So could you say that with that said, could you say that if we are using the Metatrons cube and crystal energy and are balancing, if we are putting ourselves in the center of this symbol, my I am presence or whatever you want to place there, is there what happens?
Yeah, it'd basically be like not energy overload, but you're going to be placing yourself in a very strong, a strong sphere of energy, because
Okay.
even though the Metatron's cube has the straight lines that you see around it, it is technically enclosed within another bigger sphere. And so you being at the center is basically being within the center of a sphere that has all this information within another sphere. And so it's like energy that is being intensified to you, and then you're projecting out more intensified out of that. And so it's like an amplifier. You are the kind of the main circuit. You're the energy that gets put into it, and the Metatron's cube amplifies everything that is what you're trying to create, or heal, or whatever you're trying to do. It's an ultimate amplifier.
Yeah, so that is another connection to the crystalline description of it. And now we get this. Don't place yourself in the middle of the center if you are not prepared for it.
Yes,
because I just got this other image, when the crystal is overloaded with wrong energies, it can also crack in the middle, and we don't want that to happen, because you want crack in the middle, but your mind, state of mind might crack. We don't want that. So forget what I said. So if we are going to meditate upon Metatron's cube, how is the right approach to do that?
Gotcha. Well, I have different ways of doing, but because it's not like I'm better or anything. I'm just saying I like to have that strong energy, like to really get pretty intense usually. And so I will put myself into the center of it within my meditation. But I'm also doing it not in a 2D form. Like I'm not looking at Metatron's cube when I'm meditating on it. You can start with that. It's a really good way of just kind of starting connecting, kind of resonating with the energy itself. But eventually, when you kind of understand the frequency of Metatron's cube, you can put yourself into the center of it, and it will turn from the 2D image that you normally see into the expanded 3D image of it. And you being in the center, you are at the center of every platonic solid. You are at the center of, the Merkaba expanded. You're at the center of all this information and energy that is contained within that image. And so you have a better resonance with each of those informations, each of those systems of knowledge. And so it can expand your knowledge itself. You can kind of understand more, but also you can work with those energies more. So if there's a certain energy that is more attracted to you, you'll understand it and be able to feel that one feels better rather than the other ones. If you feel closer with a tetrahedron, then you'll kind of gravitate towards that. You'd feel that energy stronger. If you like the dodecahedron, you get higher frequencies right there. Then you gravitate to that. You can feel it better, all that type of stuff. So it's a really good way of feeling what is right for you. So yeah, I just put myself right in the center and just feel.
So it's kind of navigating you to the energy that you are most likely benefiting from this moment.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. At least that's how I use it. You can use it for multiple other ways. I just like using it to feel what is right now.
Yeah. Do you want to do a short meditation, or do you have anything in store for us in the meditation field?
I haven't really thought of any true meditations like that, because that one is kind of a self-guided one. There's not much that I can really, guide people through. It's kind of just like, imagine Metatron's cube. Imagine you being in the center of Metatron's cube. Feel, and then, okay, whenever you're done, you can come back. That's
the wise words. Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
Don't be lazy. Do it yourself. Well, yeah. That's all good. That's all good. So what are we going to say more about this beautiful Metatron's cube? It's balancing energies. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's there's a lot of information that is within it that is just hard to fully describe like that unless we have the full images. And even just having the image of Metatron's cube, shared out that you have, it's hard to really point out and highlight and do all the type of stuff unless you have like a physical thing that you're able to actually draw out and highlight. Okay, this is that. And so you kind of need a little bit more instruction, so to speak, and full breakdown to really get all the stuff. Like I can say that it has all the platonic solids, but unless you really, break it down, this is this platonic solid, this is this one, this is that one, it's kind of hard to not necessarily believe, but it's, it's kind of just, it's not as impactful. It's like, okay, yeah, it has platonic solids, but when you fully get to see it, it gets more intense. Yeah.
The more I read up on Metatron's cube and the information that are out there, it actually reminds me of a crystal. Because it's not only that you can meditate upon it and it amplifies your energy, it's also something you can use to clear space. So, but of course, it's a geometric symbol and it holds every symbol within itself, just like the flower of life. And So it's a huge, how should I say, a huge huge toolbox that are
Yes, yeah.
coming with this symbol.
Yeah, and then there's another aspect to it that I can't even fully describe that well, that the image itself is almost like a representation of how consciousness or thought can manifest into physical reality. And so it's called like the, God's mind or mind's God, that type of thing, to where it kind of shows the mental kind of how consciousness really shapes reality and how it kind of forms what you are experiencing. And that topic, that diving into that is almost impossible for me to do just because it's such an intense thing to talk about, and I don't have all the information fully. So it's yeah, don't want to dive too deep into it without having the full information for you.
I also got another image in my head when we started to talk about this Metatron cube, and when we were talking about the two-dimensional pictures that we are watching and how it expands and how it's almost like a circle, three-dimensional, multi-dimensional experience. I got this work thing that I have, not the cryon channelers, but they who are channeling Bashar. I do know that you know who they are. They have this huge tool that are bringing in energies, and when you're looking at the Metatron's cube, it kind of look like that in a different shape. It's standing on legs, but there is a kind of similarity there.
Yes, yeah. Well, that symbol, I'm pretty sure you're talking about the kind of hexagon type of looking shape, usually behind Daryl Anka. Daryl has the big, version of it, and that one kind of represents the expansion of, I think, civilizations. I believe they call it, of different civilizations that they've connected to, and it's like each one grows off of the other one and expands or something like that. I kind of forgotten the exact thing about it, but I know that it has something to do with the expansions of civilizations and the connection between every single one of them. But it's also an image that can expand infinitely or shrink infinitely, just like Metatron's cube and most of sacred geometry and flower of life, all that type of stuff. It can expand infinitely and shrink infinitely, and that's another symbol that can do that. But yeah, it's a very strong one, and each of the civilizations have their own symbol that you can meditate on to resonate with their frequency. Just like Bashar has the blue triangle with the black background. I believe it's a black triangle with a blue outline. That's what it is. Yeah. So when you meditate on that image, you get the resonance of their civilization, their consciousness, and so that's kind of a represent or kind of a connection with the resonating with a certain image or certain shape that you can get different frequencies and different connections with that.
Because that is pretty good to know that these are only tools or the symbols. They are, you use them to get into a frequency. You can obviously tap into frequencies anyway, but using these images and visualize upon them usually brings you closer to it in a little bit faster than the normal human being are connecting with it otherwise. Yeah. So we always do a healing. So I guess if you doesn't have anything more to say about the Metatron's cube, I totally rely on you,
Yes, sure.
on your information today, because I'm not that familiar with a Metatron's cube in the sense of working with it.
Yes, yeah, I did a lot of stuff with Metatron's cube years ago when I first got into sacred geometry. That was kind of my thing, if you will. Yeah, I really love that image, and but over the years, I've kind of forgotten a lot of the information that is hidden within it, and so just within the last couple of days, I was like, okay, I really need to dive deeper into it because I know we're going to be doing this talk, and so I wanted the refreshers, but then of course I was really sick, if you will, just like not feeling good, and so I literally only had like yesterday, and even yesterday I wasn't feeling that good, but I was like, okay, forget it, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to redo like a learn all that type of stuff, and so I've only like literally had like less than a day to kind of gather all the information again. But
so it's
I know
not
that
only the cosmic weather forecasts that are causing problems within your health, it's also the Metatron's cube who's reactivating this
yes,
these healing energies and purifying,
yeah,
purging qualities. Well, that's kind of
yes.
interesting.
But,
Well, we will see what happened the next time we get together, but maybe there is some new information or more information you want to share because we have time to do that then.
yes.
But before we move further, you do have a crystal within your hand. I saw it before, amethyst.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I'm not sure if we did this one last time. I kind of forgotten which crystal we did last time, but amethyst I always go towards whenever I'm doing anything with sacred geometry, just because it does open the third eye, opens kind of your ability to see past the two-dimensional, if you will. Like you can really see past what is just in front of you and you kind of dive deeper into the things. And so, especially with sacred geometry, you don't want to take it head on or just at face value. You want to like really dive deep into all the different nooks and crannies that it's hiding. And so, especially with Metatron's cube, there's a lot in there that you kind of have to look deeper to fully see.
Doesn't
And so I
people
thought,
usually color the Metatron's cube with the lilac and gold?
yeah, actually, gold is a very good one for the straight lines, and lilac is usually the circles. Usually kind of representing the masculine and feminine energies as well. But, yeah,
So the amethyst is
yeah, it's a good one.
right for this moment. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because it's a sphere too, and so it's a more feminine, if you will, with that, and then because it's, but yes. So, so if you aren't aware, I'm going to be doing the crystal channel, crystal healing, if you will. So, if you're wanting the energy, just consciously or verbally or consciously, accept, I want this energy. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. So you don't want the energy and won't touch you. Okay. So let me grab some water before, and then she'll start. energy is you to close off now. So,
Mm. Wow, that was powerful. Just going to put us there. Yeah, it was very soothing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was interesting. Usually when I do these crystal healings, there's no real like messages or voices or anything like that. It's usually just the energy that I see or the total of energy and how it's going to go and where it's going to finish and all that stuff. But this time there's some actual words going through to where it was specifically saying this energy is trying to open up the vision, open up the mind, and open up the ability to see things that are hidden, to be able to see things that are needed to be seen. So,
Interesting, because that is right on time too, what this energies is basking in here right now, hitting Earth hemisphere and affecting everyone, pulling up this energy. We were talking about this earlier, how I noticed how people are confronting the past that they thought they had purged through, cleared and healed and let go, and still there are so much attachment that are within our physical body, causing physical problems, and it is really a time of take a deep look within and understand what's actually going on. It's kind of interesting. I do love to see how people are confronting the past or their habits that they have and they don't want to hold on to, and being able to clear those energies and actually see what's the hidden, and they didn't mean that. The words that come through that has nothing to do with these healers who are purging right now, but it's kind of they're similar somehow in a way.
Yeah.
There's a parallel going on there. So yeah, well, I'm definitely going to take those words and reflect upon those, because I do know that there is a part of me that needs to work deeper too. So
yeah,
I
definitely.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I've had to be doing that as well, to where I've been holding on to different patterns, different behaviors, if you will, and knowing that it's kind of unhealthy for me to be continuing in those patterns. And some of them that I feel like, kind of your mind kind of tricks you to think that they're healthy, like this is the right thing to do. But then you kind of realize, no, that's probably not the best,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of nice to recognize those feelings, don't you think?
Yes, yeah, exactly. I think the main one is that my spirit guides and all that type of stuff have been telling me for a while now that the food that I'm eating, or the way that I'm eating, if you will, is not that healthy for me, and that I actually do need to have some form of like meat or whatever. I've been vegan for like 7+ years, and so it's kind of becoming my like identity, if you will. Like, oh, I'm the vegan. I don't do that stuff. But recently, it's kind of like made me like go back and think on that type of stuff of like, okay, your body's not really doing that well. Your body was doing better when you had meat, even though your vibration was lower. When I'm vegan, my vibration is higher, but my body's not doing it well. And so they're kind of saying you need to kind of balance it out a little bit.
Yeah. And you're not alone feeling those energies, because I do know, once again, a lot of people within this path or in this community are feeling the same way. It's not that we are saying that everyone should start eating meat who doesn't.
Yeah.
You need to listen to your body.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is right for you now may not be right within a year or 2 years. You have to follow. I don't like fish. I honestly say that I don't like fish. I never like the smell of it. I don't like the taste of it. I don't like fish. But I found out once when I was shopping that I was hanging on this you know, in the food store, looking at frozen fish. And I was like, yuck, what am I doing? And the next time I was there, I was back in the same sector of this and once again I found myself with a frozen fish in my hand, and I was like, there has to be a higher purpose of this, because I really doesn't like fish, but if the universe tells me, or my body is telling me to maybe there is something I need to have within that. So, and today I actually eat fish, and some days I like it more, but some days it's it's not for me. Hi, Maureen. I saw that Maureen was popping in here on the comment. Well, she has a comment, but she's watching. Yeah, so listen to your body, definitely. Let's see if there's something anyone wants to say. Does Maureen want to say anything? She always has such a good comments when she pops in here. Just going to see if she's joining in. Yeah, she just jumped on. Yeah, I know. Oh, that's there. Yeah, I know she's just jumping in. Well, you're more than welcome. So we were talking about the Metatrons cube, Maureen, and I guess also we have Ahmed L watching. Hi. Yeah, I don't know. You have to watch this again. We are just randomly talking about the energies that we are feeling and sensing. She says, I need to register. I know you are discussing Metatron Cube. Yep. We have been talking about Metatron Cube. Now we are talking about the frequencies entering the cosmic energy field around us.
Yeah, definitely. And just a couple of days ago was the equinox, and the energy of like harvest coming up, the harvest, and that energy kind of correlates with this as well, to where it's like having to sow the seeds to be able to have that good harvest, and so we're having to look back into our soil, the stuff that we kind of either forgotten or overlooked, the kind of past stuff, the kind of the deep, stuff, to make sure that it's clean and, kind of healthy, so that when stuff does grow and we get a good harvest, so that's kind of what I'm feeling lately, is the energies are kind of wanting us to look down into the soil to find that stuff that might not be the best for our plants,
Yeah, definitely. So did you do anything during this equinox?
I personally didn't, but my mom did do an equinox ritual. She's more Wiccan or whatever, and so she did the Mobok or something like that, some type of equinox ritual with leaves and candles and some type of chanting and stuff like that. But I didn't really get too involved with it, because that's kind of her thing. She does all the rituals and stuff, and I kind of just feel the energies,
Yeah. For those who doesn't know it, Cody's mom has a spiritual interest.
Yes, yeah. She was the original one for our entire family, if you will. She was Wiccan from very early on age, and then she is always going to different cities that are very high in spiritual and are just high frequency energies, places with vortexes, Sedona, Jerome, different places that have really good energy to them, and a lot of places that have crystal shops. And so my interest in crystals kind of grew from her just window shopping at crystal places, and she'd just bring me along, and so I got to learn all the Wiccan, the spiritual, sacred geometry, even crystals, all that stuff, just from me tagging along with her when she was going through all the shops, looking at all her stuff.
Yeah, so you have had it like everywhere, not just from the energy fields or from cosmos. You have it within your family structure too. So
Yes.
that's neat. Let's see here. I can see that Maureen wrote here earlier this month. I drew cards to align with Metatron and be with those energies as I sleep.
Nice. Yeah, Metatron's a very powerful one. It was one that I've connected to a lot over the years, and he was I'm not sure if he was technically like a guardian angel of mine, but he was an archangel that I would constantly go to for any type of advice or help or insight. I really did use Metatron for gaining a lot of knowledge very quickly.
Yeah. And Metatron is popping up on and off here. She also said that very high energy last night around 12:30 to 1:30 a.m. It felt amazing, but not be able to sleep for a while. Yeah, what we were talking about earlier, that we see the, I don't know what you call it. We call it norrsken, the northern skies, when it turns green and have this. Yeah, I don't know what do you call it?
It was Northern Lights. Yeah,
Northern Lights. Okay,
yeah.
the Northern Lights. So we have this, visual scene down in the south of Sweden, and we usually do not see it down here. It's higher up. So they are more frequent in the northern Sweden and to the pool more than pool. I don't know what I said,
Yes.
but never mind. But we don't see it down here. So massive energies. She also says my perspective this September has been one of the bigger perspective and the minute, recognizing the themes of emotions and lesson. It is to balance the self and flow with the expansion as we release our old paradigms.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, releasing, balancing, understanding. Yeah, it's kind of all encompassing, if you will.
Yeah,
But,
because that is what you said about Metatron's cube and how we are using it. It's a healing tool. It's a clearing tool. You can use it in so many different ways. So it's so nice to see that a lot of people actually feel the same energy and are having the similar experience and still experiencing it in their own way. Theme for me is integrating divine masculine and increase self-love within. Yeah, once again, balancing feminine and masculine energies, or balancing energy. So.
Yes, yeah, I think yesterday I did a lot of the kind of research or kind of looking up on Metatron's cube and all that type of stuff, and then that night, or I should say last night, I sweat so much. It was like I was going for a full detox. Like just everything was coming out of me through, and so it was like I could tell that there is somewhat of a correlation with how much sacred geometry and energy and all that type of stuff that I was looking at and tapping into all that stuff. Yesterday with all that, and then how it affected me at night. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
It's very interesting. I do love these energies that are pouring in. That is me speaking now. I do love these energies. So let's see if anyone has any question here, and that we can. Yes, my body was quite warm too, she says.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of interesting to see how it affects. Now I'm addressing Maureen. Maureen, did you feel like you had this time of, dizziness or headache or itching in your body? Can I say itching? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's so searching. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because a lot of people, we were talking about in the beginning, I don't know if we had gone live when we were talking about it, but a lot of people have felt this dizziness and migraines and discomfort within their body. This is my cat here. Discomfort in their bodies the past days because of these huge energy impacts that are popping in right now. So yeah, I don't get any more questions. Say hi, Ryan, Cristobal. Do you have a question to Cody? You are more than welcome to share it here. Yeah, let's see. I can't pronounce that name, but you're welcome. More than welcome. Yep. I don't know if Maureen is still here. Yes, she is. Earlier in the day, skin itch on arms, slight headache. Yesterday, an area not usual for me. My leg ached too. Yeah, a lot of people have felt this heaviness, like their body is overloaded or overfloating with liquid.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been drinking a lot, but I also felt like like a weird thing is like I didn't have a loss of appetite, but I felt like I already had a full stomach, even though I know I was, didn't have any food. It was like this like feeling that you're full. But again, it wasn't just the stomach as well. Like you said, there's like a heaviness in the body, but your body kind of feels like it's just kind of overloaded, if you will. And that's kind of what I felt as well. It's just my body was just having had too much in it or on it or all that type of stuff. Like my skin, just wearing clothes felt like it was, adding 50 pounds or something like that. And it touching the skin was like, fire, needles, all that type of stuff just hurt like crazy. Yet I know I needed to wear the clothes because I was going through this, like my body was freezing, therefore I'd be shivering. And the next moment it's like super warm and I just kind of am, sweating to death. And it just kind of went back and forth. So it was a very interesting one. Yeah.
Is there a balancing of density right now?
That definitely could be a thing, because when I go very high into high frequency stuff, your body gets warm when you're doing high frequency things. You're warming up, and so if you're going through different densities, you'll get really, really warm, and then your body will balance out with cold. So really want to balance out, and so it could have been just a balancing of density. So yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Maureen is also saying that many friends and self went through need for extra sleep, especially last week. Yeah, I actually slept 12 hours when I went to bed last night. I woke up 12 hours later. Yeah, my stomach feels this way too. No appetite but bloat. Cellular activation and calibration I receive. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So for you who are watching this, Maureen is a light language, how do you say it? Facilitator?
Yeah, that was a specialist.
Specialist, yes, she's a specialist on light language, and she also has this beautiful connection to her higher self and channeling, and being a part of the Crying Coffee Club, as we called it, for a couple of years ago, when we got together there, chatting about life and the spiritual levels that we are within and that we are moving from. So check her out, please. She has her own Facebook page, and we ask her, she can probably put her Facebook name on the comment in the comment fields here for you to check out. So that was from Maureen. Is there anyone else who want to ask a question about the Metatrons Q now that we have Cody here? And while you are thinking of a question, I'm going to ask you one, Cody, and that is, what will be the next geometric symbol that we are going to talk about?
Gotcha. Well, it might be a very simple one, but it kind of does have some complexity to it. But I'm not sure how much information or how much of a talk we can really get into it because it is so simple. But I wanted to go with the tetrahedron.
Hmm?
You know, kind of the basics, the first image that comes out of Metatron's cube, the first platonic solid, the kind of image that is closest to source, if you will.
That is interesting. I have this difficulty to pronounce that name, so I'm going to let you do that. I just want to say that Maureen said, sure, thank you, and she has put out language live Facebook and YouTube, so that is in the comment field. Yeah, so we are going to be here like in 2 weeks from now, Monday, 9 o'clock Central European time, and for Cody it starts at
mine's at 12 here. Yeah. Or
do you
12,
are you
yeah.
in Pacific or?
Yeah, I think it's Pacific just because I'm in California right next to the ocean, so I'm pretty sure that's Pacific.
Yeah. so that but it will also be an information here on gathering of lights. So yeah, that's that, and we were going to talk about
the tetrahedron.
Tetrahedron. So with that said, I would like to say thank you for being here, Cody, and I hope that you have not drained yourself during this talk. You're 100% feeling good today. You're not feeling so tremendous today.
Well,
but
I'll do some resting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do some resting later, and then I'll probably get back up and stuff like that and start my day again.
We are crossing our fingers that you are feeling better soon anyway. So thank you once again for listening to this Metatrons Cube chat and a bit of chat of everything else too. See you in within 2 weeks, and yeah, you find the information here on this Facebook page when it pops up. Once again, thank you and take care. Love you all.
Bye.